Hi, my name is Mike McNulty, and this week's EPiC Insight from the performance business is all about presenting. And the question I'm asking you today is, why bother? Which might sound a strange question for a communications skills specialist to ask you, but why, honestly, why do you bother speaking? All that effort that you go to. You focus on the content, you focus on the process. So what? Very often when I'm in with clients, or very often when I'm hearing speakers in all sorts of formats, we get the what, the content, what people are talking about. Sometimes it's exceptional, sometimes it's a bit boring, right? And we get the process, the how, very often, which can be very interesting and insightful. But also equally important is the why. Why am I listening to you? What is it you want me to do as a result of what I've said? Now, if we don't have the big why, then you're losing a great opportunity to influence the people that you're talking to. Always have this in your mind. Whenever you're speaking, what is it that you want the people to do as a result of what you've said? It can be something very tangible, very specific, like pick up a phone, or go and meet their friends or family, something tangible. Or it could be a bigger why, if you like. So for instance, the BBC, their big why is all about informing, educating and entertaining, right? Ours might be a lot more modest than that, but even so, we need to give it some thought. Now, in order to get people to do what you want to do, it's really important that you stimulate them to do that. And they need help. So I'm going to share with you today an acronym which is going to help you. It's called FROL. And it stands for First, Repeat, Outstanding, Linked, and Last. Let me just go through those in that order. So first of all, first. Well, what we're trying to do there is make a really strong impression. You never get a second chance to make a first impression. That's the bad news. The good news is, well, you can make a second impression, but the problem there, of course, is that you've already made that first impression. It's very difficult to erase it. So as much as you can, without putting too much pressure on yourself, make sure that you make a really strong beginning, a first. Because we always remember the first things in life, don't we? The second thing I want to think about is repeat. Now, people find this a difficult concept to get their heads around, because repeat very often is translated as that's boring. You've said that already. You know, particularly in this world where things are moving at such a pace. Editing in films is a lot quicker. Our attention span is shrinking because of all the different stimulants that we get, both through the media, but also through life generally. So if you don't like the word repeat, use the word reinforce, because if you don't repeat or reinforce what you've got to say more than once, it's not going to stick. It just won't stick for people to then act on. So keep reinforcing or repeating what it is you've got to say. And you can do this in all sorts of entertaining ways. And that brings us on to the O, the outstanding. These are the baubles on the Christmas tree. This is the texture in a painting. This is the different colour you might have in the way that you dress. To liven up a business suit, you might have throw in a bit of colour. What's the outstanding element of what you're doing that's really going to hook the people that are listening to you into your big why? Okay, so we mentioned baubles on a Christmas tree. Stories are really good examples, particularly personal stories that people can relate to, and something that the speaker can relate to as well. It just kind of frees them up away from the content and the process of their speech. Next is linked. So no matter what you talk about, and no matter how creative you are about making it outstanding, you've got to keep bringing it back to your core call to action, your core why, if you like. What is it that you're driving towards? It's almost like a compelling wave, tidal wave of information that you're giving people that's repeated, that's outstanding, that has made a strong first impression. Yeah, you're getting the picture? So linked, make sure that it's tied quite neatly into what it is that you're talking about. You can be as creative as you like, but the links need to be clear. And finally, last. So in the very same way that it's the first things that people do that we remember, we also remember the last things we do. So when is the end of your speech or presentation? Is it at the end of the words? Is it the end of the actions that you make, maybe? Is it at the end of the day? Is it at the end in the bar when you're talking to people who've been to hear you speak? Is it the following day? So think about, when is the last action, and how am I going to get that call to action right at that point? That's really important. What is it you want your audience to do as a result of what you've said? And that should be the last thing that they leave with. Have a great day. And today, when you're listening to speakers, whether it be face-to-face or on TV or on radio, ask yourself the question, what is the big why?